Welcome to Cup of Jess, where the coffee's hot, the truth is hotter, and we're spilling all the real, raw business moves no one talks about. No fluff, just facts. Let's get into it. Welcome back to A Cup of Jess. We're back here sharing a little cup of Jess with my business coach, Arturo Lopez. I'm excited to have him here today because it's funny to me because every time we meet, it's him interviewing me, but now it's me interviewing him. So, welcome, Arturo. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Arturo Lopez. I'm a Vistage chair. This will be my 12th year representing Vistage worldwide.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about Vistage because I know a lot of people see me post you and I post about Vistage and they're like, what is Vistage?
Sure. So Vistage is a 70-year-old company. We've in 40 countries. We have about 50,000 members that are business owners, CEOs, and leaders across the globe. And what we do is we are a mastermind organization that believes that two entrepreneurs aren't as good as four, and
Correct.
obviously don't make the best decisions as, say, 12 or 14. And so what we do is we're fractional chairmen of the board for multiple privately held companies. And what we do is we help them make better decisions so that they can grow their business and be better human beings.
That's amazing. And if you think that I've done amazing things, well, I have to say thank you to Arturo because honestly, he has been there. Like I was mentioning before, before we started the podcast, is like, I was telling him, it's like you every time we meet, or there's in the beginning, I would be crying because you would make me feel that I could do more. Like you believed in me, and I was like, am I not like believing in myself? So thank you so much for that. So I appreciate you. You made me feel uncomfortable in my business.
Well, I think that, behind every entrepreneur is a woman that makes it necessary. So I just believed in you like I knew that you should believe in yourself.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit more about you.
I'm a military brat. So my dad served 24 years in the military and then failed retirement
Okay.
and ended up joining Homeland Security. So if you bump into any wonderful personality at the airport that make you feel uncomfortable, they were probably trained by my father. So thank you for that.
So
So
now we know, and thank you for the service as well too.
sure. And so my background is I have a master's of international business from the University of St. Thomas here in Houston. And then I also was kind of a lifelong leader and educator. And so I decided to go back and get my master's of finance from Tulane University in New Orleans.
Congrats. And married, kids.
I am single with two boys, 12 and 8, which I'm crazy about. And so, yes, currently single.
Awesome. And I know as a entrepreneur, what is we'll touch base first on the business side. We always discuss about, young entrepreneurs right now. We are also right now I feel like the younger generation are having like like not problems, but trouble knowing if they wanna go to college or just start a business. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's both. I think education has evolved.
Mhm.
And, I coached a lot of young students on what their purpose is. Because if your purpose is to start a business, you don't necessarily need a 4-year degree.
Correct.
And as someone who has an MBA, it's a little bit, difficult for me to say that you didn't really need the MBA to get where I am today. And the reason I know that is because, with the exception of Vistage, no one's actually ever asked to see my MBA
Right.
because it's still in the tube that they gave it to me when I graduated from the University, of Tulane. So the biggest thing is what's your purpose? So this particular young man was running a business, and he was absolutely convinced that he wanted to go and get an MBA.
Mhm.
And my question to him was, well, will you be working for a Fortune 500 company? Will you be working for a large organization, something where you feel like that is going to be the tipping point in giving the opportunity as a leader? And he said, no, I think I'm going to work for my father in the family business the rest of my life.
Correct.
And so my recommendation was, you don't need an MBA. You need to go to a university where they can teach you how to take an idea and turn it from an
Right.
idea into a business.
No, and that makes sense. And that's also stuck with me because at one point in my career as a business owner, I did come to you and I was like, "Hey, I think I should go back to school. Like, I don't have an MBA. I don't have that degree, right?" And you were like, "You have learned more in the business now than having a degree." So that was pretty powerful. So I know as well that you do the coaching and everything, but you're also a business owner yourself. And what what are the struggles that you deal with that you also you're like, "Wait, I advise on this," and but it's something that, sometimes we have that doubt as well as a business owner.
The biggest reason why someone would actually search out their own business or even a business coach is
Mhm.
because they have some sort of trigger in their life, right? For me, that was losing my marriage, losing my CFO, my business partner, and uh, my comfort level with how I was going to run the business. So for me, the reason why I got into business was because I wanted to provide for my family, and it was this triggering event that led me to search out to say, okay, what is it that's really going to move the needle for me? It's not going to be to go get a job. It's going to be to create something that's scalable and is going to provide for my family, whatever that looks like today and even in the future.
Right, right. So I know you touch base on um losing or having to go through that separation as a business owner.
Hmm.
And that's something that I feel like a lot of business owners, let's say if you're going through a breakup, it could be a business partner, it could be your spouse. In your case, it was your spouse.
Hmm.
What is going through your mind? What is going through as like I have to run this business, I have a team to lead, and then people depend on me. And how did you get out of that? Or how did you keep your head afloat,
Hmm.
above water?
So that's a great question. One was shortly after I lost my father. So he passed away, and I needed to be there not only for my mother and my sister, but also for my kids.
Correct.
And so that's going to be something where a triggering event helps you evolve and focus on what's important versus, what's the emergency, right? And so when you think about a business, there's a lot of times when you are 100% committed and you feel like that's the only path that's going to get you where you want to go. The difference that I know now is that you can be committed but not attached. So you need to be able to pivot to something that's going to be even better for you
Hmm.
versus what you believe was going to take you to that next level or help grow your business or what your family environment looked like.
So what did you do?
So for me, I pivoted. I recapitalized, hired my CFO, which you know very well. Engaged um, their services to help me just reset and figure out how much of this was I committed to versus attached. And so I've completely pivoted my practice. I did lose friends along the way, which was a struggle. But as an entrepreneur, as long as you have those people that truly care about you, then you can accomplish almost anything.
That's awesome. That's very powerful. I mean, you have to have it takes a village, right? So for you to either have that help with the kids, with the business, and you as a person. And I know you, even though you are a business coach, you also have your mentor. And that's and rule number one for me as like if you're a student, if you're a business owner, find a mentor, like find somebody that can I've been in situations where I don't know what to do and I called you and you're always like, "Hey, what can I do for you?" And you have to have that person to give you clarity on, maybe they're not going to give you the answers, but they're going to give you a clarity on what decisions to make. And but with that being said, so how's dating life now?
I mean, dating life is interesting. I thought just going into it that, being a single father would be the biggest hurdle.
Hmm.
Just because, I'm an 80% dad. Like I'm there for them for their jujitsu, their soccer, all of their activities. I created my business to have the flexibility to be there and be present for almost anything that's important to them. Now, I do travel, and so I'm
Hmm.
not there 100% of the time, but I ask them and make it very intentional on, what are the things that you need me to be there? And I will. As far as the dating community is, they need to be okay with the fact that my kids come first and then, the social aspect and also just the patience. I truly want, that best friend in my life, that person that's going to support me where I can also support them.
Right.
And in today's world, we're so focused on that instant, attraction, that immediate response that we don't really take the time to get to know each other and find out, what's going to really take us to a different level so that we can enjoy each other and appreciate who we are.
No, I mean, and that is very important that you are transparent with that person from the beginning because, like you said, you have a business, you have kids, and it's like, okay, this is what I have. This is como dicen en español, pones las cartas sobre la mesa, and they have to either. And same with them, right? With okay, can we agree to have this relationship? Like, okay, we make it work and all that good stuff? So, but for the single ladies out there, talk to them. What are you looking for in a lady?
That's a great question.
Hey, Cup of Jess is about everything, so we're not gonna have nothing filtered here.
Mhm. Well, like I said, just like with our tribe, you want to surround yourself with people that are better than you. And most of the success and where I am today, I've surrounded myself with very strong, educated, powerful women. And so I credit my mom and my sister um, for being, and my niece, who are exceptional. And so what I'm looking for is a woman who's confident enough to be independent but still understand that I'm going to open her door for her and do all the gentlemanly things that I feel like are chivalrous and maybe a lost skill set for most men.
Love it, love it. And that's something that you definitely have. So, um, in that case, I know that we jumped from a little over from Vistage, but a lot of people ask me what it takes to be in Vistage. How can they become a member? How does it work?
Mhm.
So I wanted to touch that question because I did have that question from a couple of business owners. So yes.
Well, we do have multiple groups and different models that apply to entrepreneurs that are on different levels.
Mhm.
But what we really want is we want an entrepreneur whose revenue is going to allow them to spend a full day out of the office, really focusing on themselves in the group, and then be able to make an investment in leadership development that's not going to impact headcount. So,
And that you saying that, it's so funny to me because in the beginning, whenever I started Vistage, it was just an anxiety for me because it was first of all it was a situation that yes, you have to be out of your office for the full day and no cell phones, fully committed and present. And for me in the beginning, it was hard, but then you start learning and how this multi-millionaire companies and CEOs work. And that's where you gain your knowledge.
I mean, everyone has their resume. I mean, it's interesting. I just had a phone call with, a Vistage member. He represented a $40 billion organization. Now, he was the president of $100 million of that covered Texas, Latin America, um, the conversation we had was, Vistage was the only time when he actually accomplished and exceeded his goals because it was the people around him in the room that held him accountable, loved him, but with challenge, and also like he had to admit and challenge himself to get things done that he had no one else in the organization that would ever challenge him
Right, right.
because you're around the room and your revenue size doesn't matter. It's that human being that's able to challenge you whether they're a $1 million organization or a $1 billion organization. It's, 12 other people looking at you, wondering if you said you were going to go to the gym, why haven't you gone to the gym?
Right. And that's something that it you are held accountable at Vistage. So yeah. So what are three things or three problems that you see business owners go through that sometimes you we as business owners go through it and you feel like you're the only one going through it. But then whenever we mention it, it's like, oh no, like this is the usual.
Mhm.
And then you're like, oh, okay, well, but as like with your experience, what are the top three things that you feel like business owners have the most problems with?
The number one is always clarity as far as what is the one thing
Hmm.
that if I delegated everything else, what is the one thing that's going to make the biggest impact in my life and my business? And communicate that to your leadership team so they are able to handle the things that don't align. So many times we get in this circle of being busy, but then we're not productive. It's that
Correct.
feeling where you've worked until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night and you don't feel like you've accomplished anything.
Right. And that was one of my problems in the beginning too. I felt like if I wasn't busy, I was not being productive. And it was the other way around. Like I was not being productive, like at all, and I was not accomplishing anything. So yes, I agree
So
on that.
clarity would be the number one. The second one, it sounds like it's basic. It's actually one of the hardest things to do is ask for help. So many entrepreneurs don't ask for help when they're struggling. They don't want to admit they don't know. And that's kind of the beauty of my role is I'm supposed to create this vulnerable, safe environment where you can go and say, I have no idea what to do. And it could be a positive thing, an acquisition, try whatever it is that's getting you excited or even challenging you is just to go and literally say, I need help.
That is true. Because we tend to want to be in control or we feel like the next person in our team is not going to complete the task like we're supposed to complete it or like oh here I'll just do it because I'm quicker at it but no it doesn't work that way so
Mhm.
yes that one too I learned that one the hard way.
And then the third one, I would say, I get to practice with my children all the time, which is just to say no. So many times we're asked to do things and we want to be liked, we want to be helpful, we want to be servant
Right.
leaders, and we say yes when saying yes is the reason why we can't say yes to something that's actually really important.
That's powerful. I've learned that 2025. And it's that FOMO, like the fear of missing out or wanting to be liked or you being available because, you want to be in an organization or a networking events and things like that. But at the end is that return of investment as well. And it could be from time, from energy, from getting things done at work. And you just have to be very um, specific on what your goals are and if that decision or if you're going to say yes to something is that going to help you accomplish that goal that you have.
Mhm. Yeah. So the three big ones are just clarity, discipline, and then accountability.
Awesome. So right now I know that you mentioned like who we would want in the Vistage group. Is there a certain limit like clients are like, well, I think, they might, you have to have a certain revenue in your company in order to join Vistage. Can you confirm that?
Most coaches think that the biggest hurdle is revenue or the investment within a peer group. The biggest hurdle is actually just the time,
Hmm.
your willingness to be open and to be coached and to dedicate the time.
Right.
It's kind of like going to the gym. Like you can absolutely go to the gym and make the time when it's the most important thing for you. However, especially during the holidays, like how often does that happen?
Especially right now that it's cold. I'm not even going to lie. I like my bed. And then it's funny because I'm like, I love the cold weather, but then I forget that in the mornings it's just so hard. Like I know you work out in the mornings. And how's that been? Like you're just very active.
Well, I mean, I'm the exception. So I'm a 6 a.m.er. So 6 a.m. to 6:30, I wake up, and I've conditioned myself to say that as a coach, I have to drink my own champagne. And so I work out every morning because if I don't work out every morning, number one, I'm not living my truth. And number two, it just won't get done. Life will happen. I get the boys to school.
Well, that's another thing I was gonna ask you because as a business coach, how does your day look like? I know you just told us wake up at 6,
Mhm,
6:30, you're heading to the gym.
mhm.
Tell us about your day.
Well, every day is different because every day is going to be based on, what is that clarity of the most important thing that I need to accomplish that day,
Mhm.
which it depends. But the first thing is my faith. So I make sure that I get my scripture and my devotional in to really center
Mhm.
myself and make sure that I'm intentional about who I am as a man and as a Christian. And then working out because if I don't take care of me as their father, then I won't be able to
Your
take it
body's your temple.
as much as I'd like to think that. Yeah. And then, of course, getting the boys to school. Anyone with young parents under teenage years is going to understand that there's no better accomplishment than getting them to carpool and like high fiving the
Getting
other parents
hugs.
on the way out because my business life begins when they are safely in school and ready to go. So then it's my focus is either meeting with business owners and CEOs or reaching out and supporting business owners and CEOs that either just don't know about Vistage or aren't a part of the organization in Houston yet.
Awesome. I know one time you shared with me that chart of filling out how much time you're spending with at work with your family because one of the biggest challenges I had was balancing my time, family, work,
Mm.
the team. So can you talk to us a little bit more about that? How to balance
Mhm.
life?
Well, everyone's ideal week is going to be
Hmm.
different. So it's a structure about, okay, from Monday to Sunday, in a perfect world, if I had 100% control of my calendar, what would that look like? And so that's just an exercise where you get to pick and choose where you're spending your time. And so that's how many times are you working out? How many times are you meeting with clients?
Right.
What activities for your family are important? And, you know, no one really gets to 100%, to be honest, because if you get to
Right.
100%, then you're really not challenging yourself enough. But that 80% looks like being very intentional with taking care of your body, taking care of yourself, and also taking care of your clients because
Right.
they need your time and you need to be 100% focused on making sure they feel like they're appreciated.
Right. And that's something I'm always telling other business owners as they come to the office if we're talking about accounting taxes that we we can't be a plus in all aspects, we can't have an a plus in all aspects of our life, but we can just make sure that we're giving the most we can, especially like with kids and your business, your team, because as well taking care of yourself means that you can't pour from an empty cup. So that's why we have a cup of Jess. Come and vent. So yeah, but it is hard with the kids as well. So I know your kids are in soccer, my kids are in soccer. And I was telling another friend that it's just so hard whenever you are a business owner. For example, Sebastian broke his clavicle. He finally got the clearance, so I'm excited about that. But it's just having to drop everything and it's like, okay, your kids now. But communication is key, and that's something I've learned too. So
Well, that brings up a good point because, in our lives, we always believe that everything is important and also an emergency. And so part of being a parent is kind of learning how to
mhm,
balance that, not only in your personal life, but in your business life. Is that, okay, if your son breaks his clavicle, that's an emergency,
correct.
right? So you need to address that right away, right? But in our business, so many times we think something's an emergency. And so we have to address it. But really, it's important.
Right.
And even though it's important, we're able to delegate and figure out that there's probably someone that's even better in that. So even though he broke his clavicle, like you're not going to be the one to fix it.
Right.
The doctor will.
Right.
And so you can't come in and be the hero and take care of it yourself.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit about maybe an advice about being proactive versus reactive?
I mean, that has a lot to do with just being intentional. A lot of what I coach and what I embrace myself is you really need to be kind to your future self. And what that means is we so much try to figure out what we're supposed to do that morning instead of the night before. I have my kids get their uniforms together, their school bag, their homework. I know what I have to do. That's my priority. And so when we wake up in the morning, there's no question about what is it that we're doing? Do I need my uniform? Where's my homework? It's you wake up and all of a sudden your future self thanks you because you did the work the night before or even the week before. So you're really supposed to be handling things that you did a week ago.
Got it.
I'm not just talking about you.
Oh my god. I mean, sometimes, I mean, 99%.
I mean, you
No.
and every other entrepreneur that I coach.
Right,
Yeah.
right. What is a place that you would want to travel into the world? We're gonna go into personal, into
Mhm.
Arturo's.
Sure. So one of my 2016 goals is to get my scooter certification. And so
2026?
2026 is that I asked ChatGPT to tell me where the 10 top diving places are in the world. And so I'm going to get my scooter certification and turn that into kind of a bucket list trip so that in 10 years I'll be able to
Whoa.
go to at least one big trip for me. And
Okay.
that's something that's self-care that's specifically just for me.
And which place is that? Do you have a place specifically or not yet?
I mean, I really want to do Australia. I mean, the Great
Mhm.
Barrier Reef is amazing. That's probably the first one, and then there's some really great places in Asia.
What do you like to do for fun?
I joined a run club, which I really like. It's called Good Guys. We run out of MKT in Highline Park, and
That's great.
so that's really been a challenge for me because I never really ran unless it was away from something.
So that's what something I was talking in another episode with or guest, a physical therapist, is that like I felt like 2025 was like the running year. Like a lot of my friends as well, they joined running clubs and things like that, and I'm like, I never thought I was going to be able to run. So, yeah, that's fun.
Mhm.
It's very, for the health and everything. But tell me something fun. What else do you like to do for fun? ¿Te
Well, I
gusta
mean,
ir a
the
bailar?
run club is great. I mean, one of my mentors is older than me. He runs triathlons, and he was really concerned about just my mental well being and how I was processing, what the new normal looked like with my
Okay.
boys when they weren't there. Because as you know, when your kids aren't home,
Mhm.
it's like completely silent. And so that was a positive thing that I did is that I had never run other than a treadmill more than 3 miles.
Mm.
Not because I wasn't capable or I wasn't an athlete, but just like
Pushing yourself.
well, like anything longer than 3 miles, you just get in your car. For me, it just didn't make sense.
Yes.
But this year, I ran the Heights Marathon. I'm rain or shine. I'm running every Wednesday, and it's a minimum of 4 miles. So you
So
at
we
least
know where to find you on Wednesdays.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the fun thing for me. And then other than travel, I really like. Food. So I'm a foodie. I love to try some of the newer restaurants in town. Open Table has like a top 100 in Houston, and
Oh,
so
I'll
slowly.
have to look into that.
Mhm,
So if you're listening out of Houston and you want to visit Houston, you already know what Open Table has all the top restaurants, right?
that's right. And even when you're a single guy like me, you just find the ones that have really nice bars, and you go sit by yourself and have a great meal.
And how do you approach a beautiful young lady if they're sitting at a bar?
Oh, I mean, with a great glass of wine.
Ooh, well, thank you for sharing that. I am so happy to have you here. I was just so excited because I told Arturo that I'm so used to having him be coaching me and finally get to have a laid back conversation. So Arturo, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate joining at a cup of Jess and I hope to see you soon.
Great.
Thank
Well, thank
you.
you for sharing. Houston CEOs is really appreciative of you being a part of the tribe.
Thank you so much. Cheers.